camera went live, and the tension in the studio was almost suffocating. Donald Trump leaned forward, eyes sharp, his voice slicing through the chatter like a knife. "Ibrahim Traoré's administration is trash," he barked. The words echoed across the airwaves, shocking millions watching live. A heavy silence followed. Ibrahim Traoré, sitting tall and composed, didn't flinch. His calm eyes scanned the room, yet inside, a storm raged. Behind the cameras, assistants whispered anxiously. Viewers could almost feel the heat of the studio lights, the faint smell of coffee and nerves mixing in the air. Suddenly, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, leaned into the microphone. Her presence was unexpected. She hadn't been scheduled to speak this early. The studio held its breath. Could she really confront Trump right here, right now? A small gasp rippled through the audience when she spoke. "Excuse me," she said, voice steady but cutting. "But let's not forget facts matter more than insults." Her words hung, sharp and clear, like a hammer striking steel. And just like that, the room shifted. Trump's confident smirk faltered for the first time. Trump's jaw tightened. "Facts? I know facts better than anyone," he snapped. The words felt rehearsed, defensive, almost desperate. Viewers could sense the tension in his hands gripping the desk. Cameras picked up the subtle tremor in his voice. Ibrahim Traoré stayed silent, letting the moment stretch. He didn't need to respond immediately. His calm was magnetic. Viewers could feel it through the screen, a quiet strength that contrasted sharply with Trump's growing agitation. AOC's eyes didn't waver. She leaned closer to the microphone. "Donald, throwing insults doesn't make leadership," she said firmly. "Actions define a government, not empty words on live television." The crowd murmured. The camera caught reporters scribbling notes frantically. Behind the scenes, producers exchanged nervous glances. This wasn't going as planned. Trump's smirk flickered, replaced by something harder to read, almost fear. Suddenly, a faint, tense silence filled the studio. Even the ticking clock sounded louder. Ibrahim's hand rested on the table, fingers gently tapping in rhythm, as if measuring each second. Viewers felt every heartbeat in their chests. Then, without warning, Trump leaned forward again, eyes narrowing. But something about AOC's calm stare froze him in place. Trump's next words caught no one off guard, except for the weight behind them. "This administration is weak, completely failing." He paused, searching for an effect, for laughter or fear. But AOC didn't flinch. She lifted a hand, soft but commanding. "Ibrahim Traoré has led with courage, honesty, and resilience. Qualities your administration never understood," she said, her voice steady, each word landing like a hammer. The air in the studio felt electric. Reporters whispered, viewers leaned closer to their screens, and even Trump's aides looked nervous. It was a live spectacle, raw and unscripted. Ibrahim's calmness never broke. His eyes reflected quiet pride, gratitude, and a hint of sadness for the insults he'd endured. He didn't need to argue. The truth was visible in his posture, in his presence. Trump's confident tone wavered. His next word stuck in his throat. The studio seemed to shrink around him. For the first time, he hesitated, unsure how to regain control. Then, as AOC's words echoed, a sudden unexpected sound, a distant crash outside the studio, made everyone jump. A momentary distraction. But what it meant? No one knew. The cameras zoomed in on Ibrahim. His expression hinted at something brewing behind the calm surface, a storm about to unfold. The distant crash outside the studio left everyone frozen. Some reporters whispered nervously. Their pens paused mid-sentence. Cameras caught the faint shaking of lights above. Ibrahim Traoré didn't flinch. Instead, he straightened in his chair, exuding quiet authority. Trump's face tightened. He leaned toward the mic again, But AOC's eyes met his. Her calm stare was unyielding. The audience could feel the tension like static in the air. "Donald," she said softly but sharply, "your insults reveal fear, not truth." Trump's jaw clicked audibly. His next words stumbled, forced, almost pleading. I know what I'm saying, everyone sees it," he stammered. But the room no longer trembled at his voice. Instead, viewers felt the weight of AOC's calm presence and Ibrahim's silent strength. A sudden beep from a nearby monitor drew attention. It was a breaking news alert, a political crisis in a neighboring country. The producers scrambled, but Ibrahim's expression remained steady, unshaken. Even in chaos, he commanded attention without saying a word. Trump's smirk vanished. The audience noticed the subtle twitch in his hand. The power dynamic had shifted in real time, live, and millions were witnessing it. And then, without warning, someone off camera whispered something. Ibrahim's eyes narrowed slightly. Something big was coming, and no one yet understood how it would unfold. Trump tried to regain control, raising his voice louder this time. "Listen, you don't understand leadership," he barked, leaning forward, his chair scraping the floor. But the room had changed. The weight of Ibrahim's presence and AOC's unwavering stare made his words feel hollow. Ibrahim's calm was almost painful to watch. His deep breath, slow and measured, echoed across the microphones. Every viewer watching felt it, the kind of steady courage that made your chest tighten. AOC stepped slightly closer. "Real leadership," she said, "is measured in action, not insults. And the people you mock are building solutions while you just shout." Trump's face reddened. His hands trembled. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. The studio fell into tense silence. Even the faint hum of the cameras sounded louder than usual. Then a phone rang in the background, startling everyone. It was an urgent alert for Trump himself, breaking information that could ruin the narrative he had tried to control. He glanced at it, visibly shaken, a rare crack in his armor. Ibrahim leaned back slightly, a subtle smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. His calm strength wasn't just quiet confidence, it was quiet preparation. The world had just begun noticing. The studio lights flickered briefly, adding an eerie touch. Trump's assistant whispered frantically, but Trump ignored him. His eyes darted between Ibrahim and AOC, realizing something he hadn't expected. The tide had turned. Ibrahim's quiet patience was a storm in itself. His gaze, steady and unwavering, drew attention to the stark contrast: confidence versus desperation. Millions of viewers felt it in their bones. AOC's next words cut through the tension like a blade. "Donald, words alone don't fix countries. Courage and integrity do. And that's why Ibrahim's leadership matters." Trump's hands shook, his voice lowering almost imperceptibly. The audience could feel the shock in the room. For the first time, Trump hesitated, unsure of what to say. Then, without warning, a staffer behind the camera shouted, "Sir, something just happened in Burkina Faso." Everyone froze. The tension shifted from personal confrontation to global urgency. Ibrahim's eyes lit up, not with fear, but determination. The cameras zoomed in on him. Viewers saw the spark of action, the silent promise that something crucial was about to unfold. The moment was electric, charged with suspense, and everyone watching knew the next words could change everything. The alert from Burkina Faso crackled across the monitors, drawing every eye in the studio. Reporters murmured, their voices anxious and hurried. Trump's face paled. He hadn't expected the world to pivot this quickly. Ibrahim's posture didn't waver. He glanced briefly at AOC, then turned his attention to the cameras. His voice, calm yet firm, carried across millions of screens. "We will handle this," he said, every word infused with quiet authority. Trump's smirk faltered. He opened his mouth to interrupt, but AOC cut in. "Donald, sometimes it's not about speaking louder. It's about acting wisely. The room seemed to hold its breath. Suddenly a loud knock echoed from the studio doors. Security tensed. Cameras caught the flinch of assistants and the tightening of Trump's hands. A stranger entered, a government official from Burkina Faso, bearing urgent news. The smell of fear and tension clung to the air, sharp and metallic, like storm before lightning. Ibrahim stood, his calm eyes scanning the paper handed to him. For a fleeting second, the gravity hit the room. Everyone sensed the weight of responsibility resting squarely on his shoulders. Trump shifted uncomfortably, realizing words could no longer control this narrative. The official spoke quickly, urgency in every word. A critical diplomatic issue had erupted, one that required immediate leadership. The studio felt like it shrank under the intensity of the moment. Ibrahim listened intently, nodding, processing every detail with remarkable clarity. AOC leaned slightly closer, watching him, her expression a mix of respect and awe. Viewers could feel the tension through the screen, the kind that twists your stomach, makes your hands clench involuntarily. Trump tried to regain control, clearing his throat. But Ibrahim's calm, unwavering gaze met his. The words died in his throat. The contrast was undeniable. Fear versus focus. Then came a subtle twist. The official revealed that one wrong move could escalate the situation internationally within hours. Every second counted. The studio fell silent, save for the faint hum of the lights and the whisper of papers being shuffled. Ibrahim's voice finally broke the silence. We act immediately, but with integrity. No shortcuts, no fear. His words were measured, strong, and unshakable. Trump's eyes flickered nervously. The tide had turned completely. Trump's frustration grew visible. He leaned forward aggressively, attempting to dominate the frame. You don't know what you're doing, Traoré, he shouted, veins twitching. But his words lacked weight now. The world was watching, and Ibrahim's calm had stolen the spotlight. AOC's reply was sharp, cutting through the tension like ice. Donald, leadership isn't about insults. It's about action under pressure. And right now, the world is watching how Ibrahim responds. Suddenly, a phone rang from backstage, loud and urgent. Trump flinched. The sound was deafening in the thick tension of the room. Ibrahim, however, didn't react, his focus entirely on the crisis at hand. The camera lingered on him, capturing every subtle movement, every steadying breath. The official stepped closer, revealing intelligence that made everyone's stomach drop. An unexpected threat had emerged, one that could derail everything. The room went cold. Ibrahim's eyes hardened, determination blazing behind their calm exterior. Viewers could sense the storm building, the tension stretching beyond the studio, spilling into the real world. The next move would define history, and no one could predict what would happen next. The intelligence report in Ibrahim's hands made the studio air feel heavier. Every second seemed to stretch. The threat wasn't distant, it was immediate, and mishandling it could ignite chaos. Cameras captured the slight tightening of his jaw, the subtle shift in his stance, and viewers felt the weight in their chests. Trump's lips pressed into a thin line. He tried to interrupt, but AOC's glare froze him in place. Actions speak louder than insults, she reminded him, voice calm yet piercing. Ibrahim's fingers traced the edge of the report as he spoke, his voice steady. We will act quickly, but thoughtfully. Panic solves nothing. The room held its breath. Even the studio lights seemed to dim in anticipation. Then came a small but vivid sound, a distant rumble, faint but unmistakable. The tension spiked. Reporters whispered, sensing danger beyond the cameras. Trump's confident facade cracked. Uncertainty crept in. AOC leaned slightly forward. Donald noticed the difference. Calm, clear action versus bluster and noise. This is why leadership matters. Ibrahim's calm focus contrasted sharply with Trump's desperation. The audience could feel it, an emotional punch that tightened hearts and drew eyes closer. Something big was about to happen. Suddenly, Ibrahim stood, scanning the room with purpose. "We must coordinate immediately with our teams," he said. Every word radiated authority and care. There was no arrogance, only resolve. Viewers could feel the quiet power emanating from him. Trump fidgeted, shifting uncomfortably in his seat. He opened his mouth to argue, but the sound of papers shuffling and urgent whispers drowned him out. The world was moving faster than he could control. AOC interjected again, calm but firm. "Donald, this is real leadership, solving problems, not creating them with words." Ibrahim moved toward a separate monitor, analyzing live updates. The faint smell of coffee and tension lingered in the studio air. Everyone could sense the stakes. One wrong decision, and the fallout would be global. Then, a subtle twist. A hidden piece of information revealed that part of the threat originated from an unexpected ally turned adversary. The revelation shocked even seasoned reporters. Trump's face lost all color. He muttered something under his breath, powerless for the first time. Ibrahim's eyes remained calm, reflecting focus and strategy. The studio felt electric, poised on the edge of a historic moment. The studio went quiet. Ibrahim's hands rested lightly on the table as he absorbed the new information. Viewers could feel the tension, like standing on the edge of a cliff, waiting for a storm. Trump's smirk was gone. His voice faltered. "This isn't possible." But AOC didn't flinch. She stepped closer, eyes blazing. "Donald, possibilities don't scare real leaders. Facts guide them. And this is what we're watching now." Ibrahim's calm was almost hypnotic. He gave precise instructions to the team, each action deliberate. The room felt small, the air thick with suspense. Even the faint hum of the cameras added to the heartbeat of the moment. Suddenly, a staffer whispered urgently, "Sir, one of the adversaries is moving faster than anticipated." The revelation made everyone jump. Tension spiked like electricity. Ibrahim didn't panic. He simply nodded, eyes narrowing with determination. Viewers could feel the weight of the responsibility he carried, but also the unwavering courage behind it. And then, just as the tension seemed unbearable, the studio lights flickered again, casting shadows across the room. Something unseen was about to strike. The studio lights flickered again, and for a moment shadows danced across the walls, making the tension almost tangible. Trump's confident posture faltered. His eyes darted nervously. The room felt like it held its breath. Ibrahim Traoré didn't move. His calm focus was a stark contrast. Like the eye of a storm, every viewer watching could sense it, an unshakable courage that made hearts tighten. AOC leaned closer to the microphone, her voice sharp yet steady. "Donald, notice the difference? Real leadership stays focused, even when chaos erupts." Her words landed hard, echoing across the studio and online viewers' screens. Suddenly, a subtle, unexpected sound, a low rumble from outside, made the staff tense. The alert system beeped again, this time signaling a critical escalation. Ibrahim's eyes narrowed, but there was no panic, only determination. Trump shifted, realizing he was powerless to control the narrative. The contrast was stark. Fear versus focus, bluster versus strategy. The audience could feel it, their hearts racing in sync with the studio tension. Ibrahim's voice finally cut through. "We move now, every second counts. Failure is not an option." The words resonated like a command the world couldn't ignore. The camera zoomed in on the monitor showing real-time updates from Burkina Faso. The situation was escalating faster than anyone predicted. Adversaries were making moves that could have global consequences. Trump's hands trembled as he tried to interject, but AOC's steady gaze silenced him instantly. "Actions speak louder than words," she reminded him. The room grew tense as reporters scribbled frantic notes, capturing every second of the live unfolding drama. Ibrahim's calm demeanor drew the attention of millions watching. His fingers tapped lightly on the desk, a rhythm that seemed to measure every heartbeat in the studio. Viewers could almost feel his focus, a quiet, magnetic force. Then, an unexpected twist. An insider source revealed a betrayal within the ranks. Someone who had appeared loyal was feeding information to the adversaries. The revelation sent shivers through the room. Trump's eyes widened in shock. Even his aides were stunned. Ibrahim remained unshaken. His strategy shifted smoothly, almost imperceptibly, as he adjusted plans in real time. AOC watched, impressed, knowing the world was witnessing the stark contrast between fear-driven bluster and calm, decisive action. The tension in the studio was almost unbearable. Every viewer felt it, like standing at the edge of a cliff, heart pounding, waiting for what would come next. The betrayal's implications were immediate. A critical plan was at risk, and seconds felt like hours. Trump's voice rose, but it had lost its power. Even his boldest shouts fell flat against the gravity of the moment. Ibrahim moved with precision, issuing instructions calmly. Each word carried authority, each action demonstrated leadership. Viewers could feel the tension in their chests, the weight of responsibility he carried. AOC's eyes reflected awe and respect. "Donald," she said, cutting through the panic. "Leadership is measured in composure and action, not insults. Watch and learn." Suddenly, a subtle shift occurred. The betrayer's actions had triggered an unexpected advantage. A piece of intelligence reached Ibrahim that no one anticipated. The audience gasped as the balance of power tipped. Trump's face went pale. He tried to mask fear with bravado, but it was futile. Ibrahim's eyes gleamed, not with anger, but with focus and quiet triumph. The studio lights flickered again, and a hush fell. Something major was about to unfold, a move that could change everything. Viewers held their breath, hearts racing, unable to look away. The studio lights dimmed slightly, shadows stretching across the walls, as if the room itself held its breath. Ibrahim Traoré leaned over the monitors, scanning live updates from Burkina Faso. His calmness was magnetic, drawing every eye in the studio. Trump's confident facade had completely crumbled. His voice, once booming, faltered as he tried to interject. But AOC's steady gaze pinned him in place, a silent warning he couldn't ignore. Suddenly, an urgent alert flashed on the screen, a final move from the adversaries, something that could escalate into a full-blown crisis. The tension was almost unbearable. Reporters whispered frantically, pens freezing mid-sentence. Ibrahim's fingers tapped lightly on the desk, a rhythm like a heartbeat steadying the chaos. "We act now, decisively," he said, voice calm but commanding. Every word carried the weight of certainty. Trump's eyes widened. For the first time, the world saw him powerless. AOC's quiet confidence emphasized the contrast, fear versus courage, words versus action. Ibrahim's team sprang into coordinated action, executing his plan flawlessly. The studio watched in awe. The air seemed to vibrate with the gravity of leadership in motion. The crisis began to stabilize. Ibrahim's strategy, precise and measured, neutralized the threat before it could spiral. The screen showed reports, the adversary's plans foiled, civilians safe, and international tensions cooling. Trump slumped back, defeated, his usual bravado nowhere to be found. AOC's eyes, sharp and proud, glanced at Ibrahim. "This is what true leadership looks like," she said softly, just loud enough for the cameras to capture. Ibrahim allowed himself a small, quiet smile, not triumphal, but a reflection of relief and focus. He had carried the weight of a nation and the gaze of the world without flinching. A subtle sound, A cheer erupting from his staff, faint but real, broke the tension. It was human, emotional, grounding the scene in reality. Viewers felt it too, their hearts swelling with a mix of awe and hope. Trump's final words stumbled, empty in comparison. I didn't expect this. His face revealed vulnerability rarely seen on live television. The camera lingered on Ibrahim, calm and dignified, a leader whose actions spoke louder than any insult could. The studio fell silent for a moment, the kind of silence that follows history being made. Ibrahim Traoré's eyes scanned the room, then lifted to the cameras, acknowledging millions watching. His presence radiated strength, courage, and unwavering integrity. AOC smiled faintly beside him, a nod of respect and solidarity. Even Trump, humbled and quiet, seemed to realize the magnitude of what he had witnessed. The monitors showed Burkina Faso stable, crises averted. The tension that had gripped the world began to dissolve. Yet the memory of the storm lingered in every heartbeat. Ibrahim spoke once, softly but firmly. Leadership is measured by courage in moments others falter. Today, we chose action over fear. The words resonated far beyond the studio, leaving viewers breathless. The camera slowly pulled back, capturing the stark contrast. Calm authority, resolute courage, and the quiet aftermath of triumph. The world had watched a masterclass in leadership unfold live, emotionally raw and unforgettable. And as the screen faded to black, one question lingered. What will the next challenge bring, and will the world be ready for it? If this story moved you, if your heart raced, if you felt the courage of Ibrahim Traoré, hit like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more stories that show true strength in the face of chaos. Your support keeps these powerful stories alive.